Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Alnafe Edward here. Another day, another video, another plug. So today I want to plug you. If you're watching this video, that means you are interested in sewing. So what I want to share with you today is the basic tools that you need when you want to start your sewing journey. This is for beginners. So I'll start. The first thing that you need to have, these are the things that you need if you want to start a sewing journey. So the first thing that you need to have is a domestic sewing machine. You do not need something very complicated for you to start your sewing journey. All you just need is any basic machine that you can get, electrical, home use, because it can basically do anything. Because if you see behind me, there is a domestic sewing machine. This is the machine that I used to learn how to sew. So it's basic. It has, I think, 16 stitches. Let me just check. No, mine has 14, but you can get from a range of 12, 14, 16 different stitches. So you are good to go, because I think even the basic stitches that you need, they're not even more than 10 that you'll be using on a daily basis. So yeah, a domestic sewing machine, and that's number one. Number two, you need a pair of scissors, but then you need two sets. There are different kind of pair of scissors that you can use, and in sewing or fashion designing, we use separate pair of scissors differently. You need one for fabric cutting. It's only for fabric cutting. You do not use, by any means, you do not use a fabric pair of scissors for anything at all. It's just for your fabrics. Why? Because at the moment you start using your fabric pair of scissors on something else, it stops being too sharp for it to cut the fabric. You understand? So we do not, it's just a rule. That's what it is. There's no such thing like you can break the rule. No, not on this one. You are not breaking any rule. You are not going to do that, because at the end of the day, you will end up, if you do that, if you use a fabric pair of scissors for on something else, you end up buying a lot of scissors. Of course, you need different kinds of pair of scissors. It doesn't matter, just to change and whatever. But if you say this is my fabric pair of scissors, it has to be that. And then it's usually big. And then after that, you need also a paper cutting scissor. Normally, it's small most of the times. So sometimes if you go to the shop, your local shop, if you buy a pair of scissors, they come into a big one and a small one. So a small one, a small pair of scissors is for paper cutting. You'll be asking, but Nafe, paper cutting, what do you mean? In fashion designing or sewing, you need to do pattern drafting, to cut the pattern drafting papers that you are going to be using. So you cut that using paper cutter, the small scissor that you are going to have. After that, but then as we continue, these are the only things that you need. But as we progress with pattern drafting, you are going to get what I mean. You are going to be able to differentiate the two. So number three, you need a seam ripper. So a seam ripper, at first it will be your enemy, but you will grow to love it. Why do I say this? What's the purpose of a seam ripper? When you make a mistake, maybe you were sewing, so there's a mistake that you made, you were not supposed to sew that way. It helps you to unrip the fabrics, the seams. It helps you to unrip it. Or I should say, for a better understanding, when you want to take the fabric apart, right? Normally we use maybe razor blades. So instead of using razor blades, because a razor blade is too sharp, we use a seam ripper. You are going to see it on the screen what a seam ripper looks like. This one is your best friend. He is going to be your best friend. You will grow to love Mr. Seam Ripper. It can be frustrating when you are just starting off sewing, but believe you me, you just have to make peace with it. Remember, I don't share things that I haven't done. I don't share the process that I haven't gone through. Girl has gone through the process. And now, Mr. Seam Ripper is one of my best friends. Number 4, you need a tape measure for you to be able to take measurements, body measurements, not only body measurements, to also transfer the very same body measurements to a pattern drafting paper. If you do not have a normal ruler, that is, but a tape measure, it's a must. Mostly we use it for body measurements. So once I'm done all this, I will start now. I'll post another video on how you can use a tape measure, how to take body measurements. I got you covered. Okay, got you covered. Remember, I am so selfless. What I want is for you to learn a new skill that will help you to start making an extra income in this year. You get? Okay, number 5, what you need is tailor's chalk. Tailor's chalk, mostly you use it for marking on your fabric. If you are cutting straight on your fabric, that you are a pro, you don't need to use pattern drafting papers. But as a beginner, it's very important that you use pattern drafting papers first before you transfer. You transfer your measurements to your fabric. So tailor's chalk, you are going to be using that tailor's chalk to mark the areas that you are going to cut. So I will show you all that, not in this video, but in the other videos that are coming. What you need next to have as a beginner is pins, safety pins. You need the pins to make the fabric hold together. Let's say you have layered fabrics when you are sewing. There are some fabrics, they are slippery, like satin. When you are sewing satin, you have to be very careful, and you have to use pins to pin the fabric together so that it is in the very same shape. So the pins helps to pin together two fabrics when you are sewing. So I believe you understand that. But as we are going on, you get to understand, and you can use this video to still refer it to the things that you are going to learn in other videos that I'm going to post. Number 7, you need a normal ruler, the one 1 to 30 centimeter. Apart from that, that's a normal ruler. You are going to be using that normal ruler when you are doing pattern drafting. Whether you are drafting on your fabric or you are drafting on a pattern paper, that after that you are going to transfer it to your fabric. You can use a normal ruler, but a normal ruler is a must. You just need to have it. Its use is there. If not normal ruler, apart from normal ruler, you also need a 1 to 39 inches. It can be a wooden ruler or it can be a metal ruler. You need that for also measurements. So on measurements stuff, you need a normal ruler, 1 to 39, even if you can get 1 to 59, wooden or metal, and the tape measure. These things, they go together because you can do measurements in centimeters or you can do measurements in inches, whichever way you prefer, but this needs helps in measuring. Okay, after that, you need thread and needles. You know there's no sewing without a thread and a needle. These two things, makes things happen, and they go together like twins. I don't know if it's like fraternal twins or identical twins. You choose for yourself, but you need threads and needles. For threads, you can never have enough. You can never have enough. You need different kind of threads. You can have black, green, all the colors. You need them. Believe you me. Sometimes you may feel like, let me just buy black. Maybe I don't need this. Believe you me. You need all colors. So get as much threads as you can. Get as much thread as you can. It doesn't matter how many you are going to get, but just get them. You understand? And for the needles, it depends with the machine that you are using. And the machine, when you are buying the machine, if you are buying brand new, not maybe second hand, it comes with a guide, like a manual of, let's say when you want to sew heavy fabric, it tells you that this is the kind of needle that you need for this project. So each project you need to have different needles depending with the kind of material that you are using. And also another note, when you are sewing each and every project that you are doing, you need to change a needle. When you are done doing your dress, whatever needle you used for that dress, you should not use it on another project. That one is done. Make sure you take it out and then you use another one for another project. Let's say maybe you want to make a jumpsuit, like maybe you just want something quickly. You do not use the same needle. Why? Because it's very important and it's advisable that every project needs a different needle. Okay. Okay. After that, what you need is pattern drafting papers. So for pattern drafting papers, you, as a beginner, you do not really need to get the actual the ones that we use in fashion designing. You can just get flip charts, and you can also use newspapers, and whatever papers you can get, you can use them as a pattern drafting paper. What is the use of pattern drafting paper? The pattern drafting paper, you use it before you use it for drafting of your design, whatever you want to sew as a project. Before you do that, if you are a beginner in this time and age, things have changed. In the past, there was no such thing as pattern drafting. People were just using freehand. So maybe it could be that you have a little knowledge about sewing as you are watching this video, but you want to go in deeper. You have heard other people about free hands and they teach other people how to use free hands. That was in the past. Now we are in the present. Things have changed. You understand? Other people still use that method. It's still fine if you are a pro. Even after you are done being a beginner and you think like now you are now a pro, you can still be doing freehand. But I wouldn't advise that if you are just a beginner. If you are a beginner, get a pattern drafting paper. So a pattern drafting paper is for drafting whatever design that you want to sew as a project, whatever it is, so that you should do. The good thing about pattern drafting papers, when you draft your design, before you transfer the design to your fabric, you make sure that there are no mistakes. By the time you are transferring, that means you know that everything is okay. So it eliminates mistakes. That's the use of pattern drafting paper. And it's mostly used in fashion designing. But if you want to pursue a career in fashion designing, this is the start. This is part of fashion designing. Anyone who is a fashion designer knows this. Anyone who just saw as a tailor knows this. You will also need to have tape, cell tape. Yes, cell tape. I would prefer you get a paper sellotape, but you can use whatever sellotape that there is. The reason why you need a sellotape is for you to be able to join two patterns together. Simple when you are doing pattern drafting. So it's either sellotape or you can use glue, paper glue. Yeah, paper glue. Yeah, you can use paper glue or sellotape. So that's one of the things that is very much important. Okay, everything that I'm telling you now is very much important because one cannot do without the other. That's the basic and the simple truth. Yeah, so the one hand has to wash the other hand. Simple as that. Okay, on to the next. Ha! I'm plugging it today. Make sure you comment, like my video. That will show that you are interested to see more of this content. Okay, do not let this plug just pass you by. Make sure you also share with your family and friends to show that you care. on to the next. Another thing that you need, the next thing that you need is a calculator. The bottom line is, fashion designing, it is all about mathematics. I know you may say, in secondary school I wasn't good in mathematics. I don't think I can pull this through. No, girl, you are going to pull it through because I didn't even pass mathematics. You get, so you are not alone. We are together in this. I didn't pass mathematics. I wouldn't say that I hated mathematics. I never hated mathematics. In fact, I enjoyed mathematics, but I was lazy to think because mathematics needs to think. What kind of mathematics are we going to be doing using in this fashion designing? As long as you want to know how to sew, and if you want to pursue a career in fashion designing, just know this is the center of fashion designing or sewing. So we only have 3 parts, which is addition, subtraction, and division. Nothing else apart from these 3 things that we are going to use from mathematics. Addition, subtraction, and division. So as long as you are going to sew, as long as you are going to pursue a career in fashion designing, addition, subtraction, and division, you will have to deal with it for the rest of your life. There's no 2 ways about it. That's just how it is. Tell me, is it that difficult to just add, subtract, or divide? I don't think so. We learned that in primary school. I believe everyone passed mathematics in primary school, not the one in secondary school. The Pythagoras theorem, geometry, algebra. No, it's not that. Okay, so calm down and relax. We are not going that deep. So you need a calculator for that. But then, since we have calculators in our phone, you can use the calculator in your phone. But sometimes, you are busy, and when you are sewing, you really don't need a lot of distraction. Our phone comes with different apps, WhatsApp, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Someone will just send you a message. So I'll still advise you just to get a normal calculator so that when you are sewing, when you are doing pattern drafting, you should concentrate, because whatever you are going to measure, how you are going to subtract, how you are going to add, how you are going to divide will affect the outcome of your design. I will say this again. It will affect, that's why I said that division, addition, and subtraction, it is the center of fashion designing, because it will affect the outcome of your design. It will either become big or too small, depending with how you calculated your measurements. You understand? I cannot stress that enough, and I'll keep saying that until it sticks in, that it's all about mathematics, and it's all about addition, subtraction, and division. I believe you understand now. I will leave you. Let's go to the next one. Okay, you also need starting fabrics. So on the starting fabrics, You can buy different kinds of fabrics, because we have fabrics that doesn't stretch and we have fabrics that stretches. And we also have satin fabrics, that is the silk and kind of slippery fabric satin. Yes, that, and it's very slippery. And the way you cut satin fabric and the way you cut a fabric that stretches and that doesn't stretch, it's all different. You understand? So I think for starters, you need just to get used to using different kinds of fabrics. The one that stretches, you see that, okay, the one that stretches, it needs a specific stitch. That means you are going to change your stitch length as well when you are doing that. For the one that doesn't stretch, you are going also to use another stitch type. The same way with satin. You are going to use another needle that suits satins. You are going to use also another stitching line that is a bit tighter. That's why I even said that different stitches goes for different types of fabric when you are sewing, including sewing needles. Remember, I mentioned that you need also different types of needles for different projects. If a needle that you are going to use when you are sewing a denim is not going to be the same needle that you will need to use on satin. So I believe now you understand what I meant earlier and what I mean now. After that, you are going to need zips. If you are making something that requires a zip, you are going to need a zip. But generally also, as a beginner, when you are learning how to sew, you have to learn also how to attach zips. You can attach zips to your pants, you can attach zips to your blouse, to your shirt, or whatever you are making, but you will also need zips for practical reasons. After zips, you need pin cushion. So the pin cushion, the reason why you need pin cushion is to stick in your pins so that they are not everywhere on the floor, because it can be very dangerous just to put your pins anywhere because they are sharp. So you just need to you can buy a pin cushion that comes here on your hand, and then you put your pins there so that when you are sewing, you'll be just taking from your hand. You'll be taking it from your hand to the fabric, from the fabric to your hand. So it's a safety measure for you to have pin cushion. After pin cushions, you need markers, pencils, and pens. What is the use of markers, pencils, and pens? These things, mostly you are going to use them when you are doing pattern drafting. And they are all like the way the name says, markers. It is for marking. It is for marking the areas that you are working with, the boundaries, the glen lines, whatever have you. So whatever I'm telling you now, when we start now pattern drafting of the bodies of the what, so we are going to be using these things. So the markers, the pencils, and the pens, and you need them in different colors. Like markers, for starters, you can have 3, and you need a black, blue, and red, so that you should be able to differentiate that, okay, for the waist, I'll use red. For the hip, I'll use this, so that you should be able to know that, okay, from this point to this point, this is a hip. It demarcates areas when you are doing pattern drafting. So it's for marking. It's for marking important areas of your pattern drafting. If necessary, you need an overlocker. An overlocker, it is used for smart finishing, I should say. Of course, on your sewing machine, you will have a zigzag stitch that you can use to overlock the edges. But for a professional look, you will need an overlocker, because if you look to my left, this is an overlocker, while this is a sewing machine. So If you want a professional look, let's say you want to pursue a career in fashion designing, or you want to be a professional tailor, so that you give your customers good quality service, you need an overlocker, so that everything should be very smart. Inside and outside, it's a smart work. You understand? We sew to perfection. It's a work of perfection. Sewing, fashion designing, it's a journey of perfection. So if you are not a perfectionist, you just have to adapt that because it's a work of perfection. Yeah, so if necessary, you need an overlocker as well. But for beginner friendly, it's up to you. But you can do without an overlocker. But then your goal will determine if you need an overlocker or not. As for your girl here, I like smart things and I want my things to be professional. That's why I got myself an overlocker, baby. But don't be under panic. It's up to you to decide, okay? After that, one last thing that you need is pattern drafting rulers. Let me check if I have a ruler here. Okay, this one. This one is a normal ruler. Yeah, it's in inches, it's 1 to 12, and in centimeters, it is 1 to 30. So this is a normal ruler. So everything that I'm telling you now, I'm sharing you now, all the information that I'm sharing you now, all the tools that I'm sharing with you now, I have all these things. You understand? So apart from this ruler that we have already talked about, there is pattern drafting rulers that we use in fashion designing. Remember, I've said that it's a work of perfection. So you have to perfect your craft. Whatever you are drafting, it has to be perfect before you transfer it to a fabric. And that's why you need a set of pattern drafting rulers. So there are different kinds of rulers in the set, and it works differently. There's a curve ruler, there's a hip ruler, so things like those. So you also need that. Yes, that is the last thing that you need. I hope this video is helpful to someone who is ready or thinking of starting a journey in just acquiring the sewing skill. You want to be sewing for yourself, because that was my goal when I started this journey, just to be making stuff that is tailor-made to my body. That was the whole purpose. I didn't really had a big picture, but then as a passion grew in me about it, I was like, actually, girl can start making money, some money using this skill. So when I was confident enough to be making for other people, I started advertising. Before you know it, I'm a full fashion designer. I can design from the scratch, yeah, and do the pattern drafting. So you need to know these things, okay? So when you get better and you know you are good to go, you no longer use some of the tools, especially the pattern drafting tools. You no longer use them, but it's necessary as you're a beginner to have them. This is the information that I had for you. Remember, as selfless I am, as free I've shared, share it with your family and friends as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. So stay safe. Bye.